We just took the best vacation ever. Keep watching if you want to experience it too. And just so you know, it does not have to involve snorkeling. As some of you may know, my husband and I took a trip to Southeast Asia last December. It was mainly to visit my family in Indonesia. We also had a chance to visit many places and did many things. Rode a bajai, spent time with my family, rode a scooter, snorkeling with manta rays, and beautiful fish and corals. Saw a beautiful sunset and many more. But there was one thing that we did that stood out the most. Before we visited Indonesia, we went to Palawan Island in the Philippines to visit Lee's friend and his family who live at a ministry called PAMAS. And there we had the best experience that we think everyone should do, vacationing in a mission field. So what is PAMAS? PAMAS is Philippine Adventist Medical Aviation Services, an aviation ministry providing aviation medical evacuation services to remote islands and mountain villages. And they cover 3 main areas of the Philippines: Palawan, Luzon, and Mindanao. We did come with the intention to visit and to help as much as we could. And plus, we brought a care package to a missionary living in one of the mountains. As soon as we got there, we went straight into action. Lee had the privilege to receive a short training on how to do a 360 inspection of an airplane by one of the pilots there. And Lee got to wear his farmer hat and level the ground to prevent flooding, and accompanied one of the pilots in one of the medical evacuations they had to do in another island. But the best part of all was when we had the opportunity to visit the missionaries on the mountains using this red helicopter. And of course, Lee had to have his hand on this helicopter. The pilot who was with us was also a flight instructor and gave Lee some pointers on how to fly this helicopter. And what did I do? I sat in the back and tightened my seatbelt and my grip on the handle. After I finally got relaxed, I was able to enjoy the view, which was beautiful. One of our first stops was in this mountainside called Kamantian, where we got a tour of the missionary efforts that have been done there for more than 2 decades. Schools from elementary to high school.
Oh, hello. We have some visitors. These are a couple of our student missionaries. Janelle, too?
Yeah, she's here.
Okay. This is our illustrious high school.
Okay.
We're in desperate need of facilities.
Hi.
Hello.
Monique and Lee from Florida.
Oh. Hi, I'm
And-
Janelle.
Chanel and
I'm Carla.
Carla. Okay. Nice to meet
And
you.
they've been here since the end of August.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
And so this is a high school, that's elementary school. So between these two very small buildings, we have almost 90 students.
Yeah.
In all the schools, we have close to 200.
And a clinic.
Because of the clinic, people are living longer
Okay.
and having healthier kids and all of that. So materials are getting harder to come by.
Yeah.
Maya Manumbalay! Oh. Carrie? Ben. Want to come meet some visitors?
Hello.
Hello.
Carrie, this is Monique and
Nice to
Lee
meet you.
from Florida.
Hey, nice to meet
Carrie
you.
Hello.
Ann from West Virginia.
Okay.
Going on 6 years?
This is my 7th year.
This is your
Been here
7th year.
7 years.
Okay. So I was telling a little bit of the history of what we had before we moved here, which you didn't get to enjoy. So we've got a exam room here, which Carrie uses as an office when she's not examining. Looks like you're catching up on correspondence. And our pharmacy and think tank here, where we put together treatment plans, all the references and systems and things, and charts on all the patients. Have further than 5,000 patients now. And this is our kind of do everything. We call it the lab. We deliver babies, pull teeth, excise, you know, various
Everything.
types of lesions or whatever. Just, yeah, pretty much anything. On emergencies kind of come here too. We've got the stretcher, and then we actually have some inpatient rooms. Which of course we open the windows up when we have patients in here, and
I
then
see.
room for their watchers. And
Yeah.
we've got 2 of those, which right now, do we have inpatient, Carrie?
Yeah.
Looks like they're outside though. So like I said, people like to be outside, so sometimes they bed themselves on down here. My manong balay.
Ah.
Well, with America. Okay, and then this is my husband's pride and joy. You haven't met my husband, perhaps. He's down in Brooks right now. Oh, block. He designed this like ultra fancy bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
I have to show him.
It's the one with people.
One with tape. Okay. So it
Okay.
actually has, you know, like a sit-down flush toilet. It's not the
Nice.
floor thing. Have you seen those here?
I don't
Yeah.
They just have in the hole in the floor.
Yeah, that's how I
and
grew
you
up.
pour the water down when you're done.
Yeah.
So we actually have a shower. So for patients that are really sick, you know, it's just so much easier because we can put them on a chair and bathe them in there. And we've had some issues with it, so it's kind of blocked off right now until everything's fixed and dried. This is our much used, we call it the birthing house, but we also put TB patients there because they need to come in for several weeks at a time, or other people that have a chronic something that they just need, you know, a place to kind of live.
Yeah. And surely the presence of PAMAS has been a wonderful blessing that shortened a 4-hour hike to this mountain into a 10 to 15 minute helicopter ride.
Sometimes 2-3 day walk.
Oh well.
So, just to kind of give you perspective, this little jaunt is nothing compared to what it would take to get to our other villages.
Even to where we just came from, right?
Yeah,
That was just like
we've got some
less than a
really
minute.
super steep places, and if the river's at all flooded, even crossing the bridge
Right.
is treacherous.
Wow.
The helicopter has just been a godsend,
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely.
and it's enabled us to open up. Our most western project is literally in the highlands above the west coast.
Okay.
And we've had a church there for some time, reopening a school. I finally have teachers again. So without the helicopter, there's just no way I would get there.
Hmm.
I went on the initial survey hike in. It was to the Taut Daram, and they're known as, this area, people always talk about the Taut Daram with fear. They're cannibals.
Okay.
Okay.
So whenever there would be hiking or survey trips and stuff like that, whenever they got close to their territory, they just,
Snatch you.
yeah, they would either just get very, very quiet, or they would just say, we got to go a different way. So when we were invited to do medical work over there, and they asked for school and stuff too, it was with some fear and trepidation and a lot of prayer that we went in there, because it's the sort of deal where there's so many rumors.
Hmm.
You don't know if you're being invited for dinner or to be dinner. So, but we felt quite confident God was leading us there, and we actually took a number of our high school students on that trip, and it was a 20-hour hike. And I come from, you know, quite a bit of backpacking in the past. It was the hardest hike I've ever done. So having a helicopter now to service that area, it's,
Much blessing.
oh,
Yeah.
it's every time I fly, I'm just like, Thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
You enable me to do more
Yeah.
Sure.
because I can get
Praise the
places
Lord.
and
Yeah, that's good.
not be dead when I get.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
After Kamantian, we also had the opportunity to visit schools in other mountains. One of them is Kasurwan, where there is a school that is turned into a church
Okay.
weekly and a hut for the teachers. That's a nice view.
I would like to go into a school with nice breeze.
We went there to drop off some building materials and got to meet with the missionary teachers. Of course,
Do you want to come inside?
You want to go?
Well,
You can step inside.
okay, sure. I will take off the
Have lots
shoes.
of stuff here.
How long have you been here?
I've been here for 3 years, but yeah, for PAMAS 3 years, but
Okay.
here in Caruso 2 years.
Okay. How about you?
2 years.
2 years.
8
8 months. Oh, 8 months. Not 8 years. Okay. Can we look at the bedroom?
Yeah.
It's clean.
Are we just waiting?
Okay.
Okay. You guys.
It's beautiful. It's very clean.
We're actually putting names on the sleepers because it's the gift for the
Oh,
children.
yes. Nice. Okay.
Very nice.
I want to look at the kitchen.
Oh, sure. Nice.
Wala kayo dito nagugat na tayo. Oy. We haven't washed our dishes yet.
It's a nice kitchen.
Nice kitchen. Going to church is a different story. While others drive to church, we took a 40-minute motorcycle ride to the base of the mountain. While the rest of the group rode in the back of a truck. Crossed some rivers and took a 50-minute hike to the mountain.
Morning.
It wasn't the easiest hike for the novices, but these mountaineers are a pro at it. They hike it up and down every day with no sweat. After we changed into our sweat-free church outfits, we joined the church service. And as a verbal rule, the guest usually preaches. And guess who had to preach that day? Lee. We truly had a blessed time there. The beauty of the surrounding mountains and the simplicity of life and working for the salvation of others, what more can you ask for? Seeing the dedication of the missionaries here has made us realize how much we have in the States and how often we take those things for granted, and what a dedication it is to give up those conveniences of life and even family working for others. So, for your next vacation, you can choose to go on a snorkeling trip or visit some exotic places and eat yummy foods and have some fun. But for once, I would suggest that you would consider visiting a mission field and have fun while serving others.
And if you'd like to learn more about the ministry of PAMAS and maybe even make a donation, you can click the link here or find it in the description below.